Hey, it's Russ from Pilates Guy, and in this quick video, I'm just going to talk you through getting started with online Pilates or at-home Pilates practice. Number one, and probably the most important thing that's going to keep you consistent and get you to enjoy the classes, is to find an instructor that you actually resonate with. Somebody maybe who has a similar background or has been through similar things to the reason that you're looking for help with Pilates. If, for example, you're a sports person, you probably want to look for an instructor who has got some background in sports. If you're a runner, keen to improve your running, it may help to find a Pilates instructor who is also a runner. If it's back pain, then finding an instructor who has found a Pilates has helped them significantly with back pain. And this goes not just for online Pilates, of course, but even if you're looking for Pilates on a face-to-face basis. So once you've found your instructor, you kind of need to decide whether you're looking for live classes, on-demand classes, or a combination, and whether you want to work one-to-one or if you're quite happy to jump into a group. This is mostly down to individual preference. A lot of people feel like they need one-to-one attention, but maybe they just need to do a beginner course and then dive into some group sessions live. But it's going to be very, very individual. Some people's schedules mean that they can't make live sessions or have one-to-one coaching, so they just do an on-demand basis. Just have a think about what you think you need, what will work best for you, and talk that out with the instructor that you've found. Fortunately, Pilates is quite accessible, so unless you're going to a specific advanced group or something like that, or if your instructor works in blocks where you gradually increase your intensity of the exercises, if it's a general mixed ability session, there will be options for everybody to accommodate everybody. We tend to just gradually increase the level when we're in an exercise. We start off quite a simple level and we start to build up. So that does make it quite accessible for people at various levels and experience. So once you found your instructor and you've decided in what format you actually want to receive instructions and do your classes, just make sure you've got reasonable equipment to be able to actually do this at home. The most common device people use to follow my videos or my live sessions at home is an iPad or a laptop. Both of these are really good options because they have slightly bigger screens, reasonable cameras that you can position so that your instructor can keep an eye on your position and the exercise that you're doing and that everything's okay. Some people do use a phone, and in many cases this is okay, but I find the smaller screen does make it a bit more difficult. Laptops are great because you can tilt the screen so the camera can move and also the screen can be visible from kind of wherever you put it. But I do find iPads with one of the cases which hold them up are probably one of the best options. One more thing that can be really, really helpful, especially if you only have a mobile phone and perhaps a widescreen TV, is that you can often link your iPads, your laptops, and your phones with a bigger screen like a TV or a monitor, usually an HDMI cable to plug into the larger screen, and then the cable which is an adapter for a phone or an iPad or something like that, like your USB-C plug. That's an easy way to link up a bigger screen with a smaller screen. But also you can cast the screen onto or mirror the screen on your devices. But that can be a complicated way of doing things, especially if you're not too sure what you're doing. So simply an iPad, laptop, something like that is ideal, and a phone could even work. Then you just want to consider the space you have at home. Some exercises in Pilates will involve, twisting and turning on the floor. Yeah, quite slowly, but just making sure you've got room. For example, in some exercises, we may be lying on our side and kicking our leg forwards. So you just want to make sure you've got space to be able to do this, or maybe making circles with the leg. Another thing we might do sometimes is lying on the back with the arms out, twisting the legs from side to side. Most other exercises, you're not going to have a problem with space at home. Even if you're like in a hotel room, as a lot of my members travel around, they find just a small amount of space in the hotel room is enough for them to get in a session. So try not to smash up your house, roll through any walls, or kick over any furniture. The next thing to think about is the actual equipment you'll need to follow a mat Pilates class. So one of the most obvious ones would be a mat. But you don't even need a mat. Some of my members that are online joining live Zooms literally put a towel down on the living room carpet, and that was enough. Perfectly fine for them. But if you do want a mat, if you're going to practice elsewhere, then you might want to consider it. They are pretty inexpensive, and you just want one with a reasonable thickness, which is going to be a bit more comfortable. I'd normally say anything between sort of 1.5 and 2 centimeters thickness will give you the most comfortable, especially if you're on a hard floor. Aside from that, occasionally we might use bands and blocks, and you would need to speak to the instructor that you're going to use. I like to keep things really simple and pretty much do body weight, occasionally using a block, but at home, a lot of people will just use a cushion or a pillow in place of a block, and 9 times out of 10, that's going to work perfectly fine. Otherwise, just an exercise block, a yoga block or Pilates block is going to be all you need. And aside from that, sometimes like an exercise band or that type of thing for some of the stretches and exercises, but again, not 100% necessary and can often be subbed out for something like a towel for some of the stretches or a belt. If your instructor does use more in-depth apparatus and equipment in their sessions, like the rings, Pilates rings and balls and things like that, you could speak to them about getting those, and they are quite inexpensive. So then really, once you've factored in those things, so finding your instructor, deciding how you want to work with that instructor, getting yourself set up at home to be able to follow the class, making sure you've just got an area and some props that are going to suit the instructor style that you're working with. The only other thing is to factor in time. So if you have time to join their live schedule, that's great. I find that people do stay a little bit more motivated if they sign up to going to a live session, whether that's in person or Zoom. But this can be a little bit limiting. If you could only make one a week, so you're only going to do one class a week, then you possibly want to consider scheduling some short pre-recorded sessions throughout the week so you can get in at least really 4 sessions. But that would be maybe one longer session and several shorter sessions, or maybe even a daily short routine. Scheduling this in to your diary and getting it done is the most important thing about at-home practice, online practice. When I first began my journey with as an instructor going online, I only really started this just before COVID. I was quite reluctant to go online, but I did it because I was asked by a lot of my members to provide something. And then people were just getting great results because it was online. People were doing it more than ever, and the results were actually more significant than people that just did one face-to-face class per week. So online Pilates has huge potential to deliver really, really life-changing results in many, many cases, but you've got to get it done. That's the number one thing. If you do want to get started, there is a 30-minute beginner session, easy to follow, that you can follow on my YouTube to have a go at a Pilates session. So have a crack at that, and if you need anything, please get in touch with me. Thanks for watching. Hope this has been useful. Fire over any questions in the comments or direct to me, and I will be more than happy to help. Speak to you again soon.